Hello YouTube, this is G with EnterTheDaggett. Thanks for watching my video. This video is of the Perry Mountain Dual Sport ride in Stanton, Alabama. I've seen a number of ads, to go on some dual sport rides, and a friend of mine was riding the Perry Mountain Dual Sport ride, so I thought to myself, this could be a lot of fun. I've been riding motorcycles since I was a kid, mostly dirt bikes. I consider my riding skills to be above average, but then again, who doesn't believe their skills are above average? Since I never went on a planned dual sport ride, I didn't really know what to expect. My vision of a dual sport ride was some mild to intermediate trail riding with roads mixed in to get to the trails, the roads being paved, dirt, or deep trails. What I got were some tougher than expected trails with a mixture of paved and dirt roads in between to get from one trail to another. This consisted of steep uphills and downhills with some washes, tight single track, and a few wide trails mixed in. Now, don't get me wrong, this ride was a lot of fun. Though my skill level could handle the trails, it was my physical endurance level that actually wound up giving me trouble. Now, when you're going to choose a dual sport ride, it might be a good idea to find out what level of difficulty the trails are going to be. I did a little research on this one, and I knew that this particular ride would have some harder terrain, but I did not quite expect the level of difficulty that it had. Or maybe it was not the level of difficulty that the trails were, but rather the level of endurance that was needed to complete the ride, which I was pretty much lacking. The first day of this ride was to be a 50-mile ride with lunch at the hosting club's clubhouse, and then in the afternoon another 50-mile loop of some different trails in the afternoon. Second day was going to be another 50-mile loop, and then that ended the ride. 3 people in the group I was riding with, actually we dropped out after the first 25 miles. I was suffering from exhaustion and heat exhaustion. The other 2 had actually run out of water. The temp for the day was in the mid-90s, which was unusual for this particular time of year. And it was pretty hot. We took a lot of stops and breaks. I'd say probably for that 25 miles took us close to 2.5 to 3 hours at that point. Now, my friend who I used to ride with years ago when she was learning to ride dirt bikes made the whole 50 miles. I used to have to wait on her to catch up. Now she has to wait on me to catch up. Needless to say, pride was bruised just a little bit. I came away with a better understanding, though, of what a real dual sport ride is and the endurance it takes to finish the ride. Now, one thing is, not all dual sports are like this, so that's one of the things you got to look for when you're looking for a dual sport ride, is what is going to be that level of difficulty. Some of them are like this particular one is a real difficult ride. It was a lot of fun, a lot of technical and demanding terrain, but overall it was still just a great ride.
Bike. And then it takes everything I got to get out from under it.
Riding this dual sport ride actually taught me a few things.
I'm sorry.
There's the camaraderie of the motorcycle community, the friendships that are made with what were total strangers, the willingness of others to encourage and lend a helping hand without judging.
This is embarrassing.
An example of this is when my bike stalled in a sharp turn and I fell over and was pinned under the bike. I could have gotten out of this from underneath it on my own, but at the time I was just really tired and was going to take a few minutes to catch my breath before I decided I'd get myself out from under the bike, because on these rides like this, when it's real hot outside, trying not to fall and different things like that eat up a lot of your reserve energy, especially when you're tired, you're hot, and you're exhausted. One of the riders in the group behind me stopped and got off his bike and helped me out. I didn't ask him to. He just got off, stopped, and helped me out with it. So, that's just the kind of people you see out there when you ride. This is something I'm going to continue doing, and to do so is definitely going to take some endurance training. This is You just can't jump out there if you're not in shape and ride these harder rides. You could probably ride some of the easier ones, but not some of these really difficult ones. Like this particular one was fairly difficult, which they did have an adventure ride, which is a whole lot easier, and actually rode that on the second day, and I'll have another video coming up for that. What did this teach me? I learned quite a few things on this particular ride, being the first organized dual sport ride like this. And I went out riding fire roads and some single track trails and everything, but it wasn't a big organized ride, long distances like that. Things I learned on this ride, learned quite a bit, being that, this is more of an organized ride versus, me just getting out and riding for 30 minutes to an hour or so on my own. Well, the difficulty is not quite as there, and you're not having to keep up with other people and that sort of things, or the feeling that you have to. But this is some things I definitely learned I will start doing in the future. One is I'm going to carry pickle juice. Surprisingly, this actually helps stop the cramps. If you start cramping, drinking some pickle juice, and surprisingly, these cramps will start going away. Yeah, after this ride, I was so physically exhausted with heat exhaustion. I was cramping in muscles I didn't even know cramp, and pickle juice really helps us out. Carry plenty of water. Though I did not run out, other riders did. I had 2 liters of water in a water bladder in my backpack, and plus I carried 3 other bottles of water. I wound up giving some of that away to riders who actually did run out. You don't have to ride like you're racing an enduro or a hare scramble. There was a lot of beautiful scenery. I missed out on this because I was riding like I was in a race. If I had taken the time and slowed down, I probably, 1, wouldn't have got as exhausted. 2, I would have enjoyed a lot more of the scenery, because there was some beautiful scenery out there. I would look off and say, "Go, wow, that looks nice," but going on right on down the road. So, you need to know your limits. My pride wanted me to keep riding. But fortunately, I didn't listen to it this time, and I knew that I was going to get in real big trouble if I continued riding, and so I headed back to the campground, which was really the best thing to do, because as sick as I got when I got back was surprising. Get out there and not ride, that just more or less means, get out there and ride your ability, and don't try to override your ability. As tempting as it is to do so, you get out there and you get really tired on some of these trails. Now, being I live in the southeast, the trails are a little sandier, hillier, a little tighter, so it can be different than somebody who lives in a different area of land where it'll, maybe flatter, not as hilly. Doesn't mean it won't be any more difficult. It's just, kind of, the terrain can kind of dictate, how you want to ride. Make it enjoyable. That's the key thing of all this, is to make it enjoyable. So to bring it all together, the Prairie Mountain Dual Sport ride was a lot of fun. I would highly recommend it. I'm hoping to do it again possibly next year. I'm definitely going to look into doing some more training, do a lot of more hydration preparation before the fact, start drinking water days in advance, drinking lots of it, so my body is really hydrated before we even start. I think that makes a real big difference. A friend of mine, that's what she did, and she handled through it pretty well. And so, this is something I would like to continue doing, more of the organized rides, because like I said, this is definitely a lot of fun. Meet a lot of new people, have a really good time. So, let me know how you like this format that I did with this particular video. Leave me some comments. Criticism is good. I would like to make this channel better, and for those who do watch this, I would like them to enjoy it more. So, let me know what I can do to possibly make that happen. All right, this is G from Enter the Daggett. Hope you all have a good time. Thanks.